make good decisions.
The Must-See Barron's Roundtable, brought to you by Invesco QQQ. Invest in the innovators of the NASDAQ 100.
Well, Mark Zuckerberg has spent some $400 million on the ground to influence the outcome of the 2020 election. Facebook has also changed its news feeds to suppress the right-wing media and favor the national left-wing media. Lauren Simonetti has the story.
The New York Times reporting that Facebook changed its algorithm right after the election to decrease inaccurate news and highlight authoritative news. But who determines that? Senator Marsha Blackburn reacting.
The American people want that power themselves. So they do not want big tech to filter what they're going to be able to see or hear or read, and then have big tech's pressure on what they think and how they vote.
And Senator Josh Hawley, a big critic of Silicon Valley's blocking of the New York Post's Hunter Biden story, tweets, Facebook throttling conservative outlets to decrease their readership. Big tech wants to control all news in America, and soon will if we don't stop them. We reached out to Facebook. Here's their response to the New York Times story. The assertions in this report are based on sources who have no product decision-making authority and are advancing their own narrow impression of how our process works. The paper says Facebook came up with a news ecosystem quality score to judge the quality of journalism, and it demoted temporarily partisan pages like Breitbart and Occupy Democrats and advanced pages like CNN and the New York Times. Problem was that tweak resulted in people spending less time on this site, reflecting the ongoing battle between ideological and profitable. Lou?
Lauren, thanks so much. Lauren Simonetti reporting. Well, joining us tonight is Dr. Robert Epstein, prominent psychologist and professor who predicted that big tech would manipulate millions of voters this year, and saying now outright Democrats were favored by big tech. Professor, good to have you with us. How is it that we could, despite your warnings to Congress, very clearly, very cogently, that big tech has manipulated the vote before in 2016. You expressed your belief that they would do so again. How is it that we can be warned by authorities like you and simply you are ignored?
It's very simple, unfortunately, and that's because Democrats, and I lean left myself, Democrats benefit from this. So it's hard to find a Democrat anywhere that will challenge the power, the almost obscene power that big tech is using to manipulate votes and opinions, simply because they benefit. They get most of the donations coming from these big companies. 96% of donations from Google, for example, go to Democrats. And they also get the ability that these companies have to shift millions of votes without people knowing and without leaving a paper trail. And that's quite simply is why I've been ignored.
It's a shame because not even Republicans were paying attention and taking action to be certain that that did not occur. You say that Google swayed at least 6 million voters by doing what?
Well, first of all, I've been studying the ability of Google and other companies to shift votes and opinions since 2013 in very rigorous, randomized, controlled experiments. So I know they have the power. And then beginning in 2016, I began to develop monitoring systems that allow us to look over the shoulders of real users, real registered voters, to see what these companies are actually showing them in the days leading up to an election. In 2016, we were able to preserve 13,000 election-related searches on Google, Bing, and Yahoo. This year, we went all out. We actually had 733 field agents in 3 key swing states, Arizona, Florida, and North Carolina, and we preserved more than 500,000 ephemeral experiences like search results, and have now begun the task of analyzing what these companies were showing people. Unfortunately, we're finding out that what I predicted was correct, that in fact there was a great deal of bias and some outright manipulation occurring, shifting at least 6 million votes toward Democrats. We haven't looked at enough data yet to know what the maximum is, but the minimum absolutely is 6 million.
And that doesn't include all the other big tech companies, the social media companies, which played an extraordinary and this, I believe, an unprecedented role this time because the results are just too irregular. The process has just far too many anomalies for it not to have been significantly manipulated, rigged, or if you prefer, just outright fraud on the part of some companies and some political parties and voting companies as well. Dr. Epstein, I hope you will come back and we'll take up what you want to see in the way of reform. It's critical that we get that. It's also critical we get this election right. We'll be right back. Stay with us.